Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to make sure you know all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on all new episodes of Wade's World, Boob Windows and Long Boxes, our Hard R movie reviews, and so much more, all completely uncensored. Access starts for as little as $1 a month, full videos when you pledge $3 a month. Check us out at the link in all of our show notes, or just go straight to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Hello and welcome once again, my ladies and gentlemen, to Super Connectivity. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, except no substitutes. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Pits.
Fill me in, Perich.
Welcome, Phil. I am so glad to have you here. Such a grand day to be alive.
Did you see breaking news? I guess no details were disclosed, but Scarlett Johansson and Disney have come to some sort of a arrangement, some settlement. So, but yes, they didn't disclose.
We're all friends again.
Oh yes, she's so pleased to be working with the mouse again. Yes, you know.
Well, that was the thing, and that was how it was always going to be. There was always going to be a settlement,
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob, it's a learning curve. Not every CEO hits the ground running.
They probably just negotiated a percentage of that streaming money and be like, okay, how's 10% sound? How's 15% sound?
Well, exactly. They figured it out. They worked the math, and that was all that it was going to be. That's what it was always going to be. That's just the reality of it, because they need to make their money. They need to do their job. And, Scarlett Johansson, she knows her value. And there's no reason to think that she wasn't going to get paid out of this.
Yeah, and I think Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it's coming back to Disney Plus, like free, the regular Disney Plus, you don't have to pay that for $30. So
yeah, I've already paid it, so what do I care?
Yeah. But
I own that for life now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So I wonder if they wanted to iron that out before it, hit the regular Disney Plus for everyone to see.
Yeah, this is another thing. This is actually just a unrelated news, but weird news. The Peggy Carter short got pulled from Disney Plus.
Yes, I did see that. Yes.
And it's weird because when they did the Peggy Carter retrospective, they heavily featured that. So I don't know why are they pulling it? And then of course, I believe Peggy Carter's still on Disney Plus as a show to watch. Right now, the actual series you can watch, unless it's still on Netflix. I'm not quite sure where that is, but at least in some countries, she's available on Disney Plus. So it's interesting that got pulled. So
maybe they're going to have something Peggy Carter coming up. Something besides the Captain Carter on what if maybe they're doing something live action or.
Well, that's the thing, and it would not surprise me. There was talk. I mean, it's one of those. It's like just complete rumor that when we get to Multiverse of Madness, that they'll have Captain Carter in there. We'll get that. We'll be testing that She-Hulk effect there because you got to get her that 7 feet tall.
Or that next Ant-Man movie. I mean, Quantumania, Kang's supposed to be in it, and they use the quantum realm to time travel in Endgame. So maybe there's time travel involved in Quantumania.
Yeah, well, that's entirely possible too. Lots of possibilities, whatever they're going to do. Obviously, those of us who love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Peggy Carter, we want something back. We want that back, and that would be really awesome if, and like I said, they don't have to make it all canon, but we just want to know it was not all for naught, except for Inhumans. We all agree nobody's waiting for you to bring the Inhumans back.
Exactly.
That's okay. We're fine.
I mean, you pointed out last time when they pulled what is that, Hail to the King or whatever, and spoilers,
Yeah.
he showed up in Shang-Chi. So
Yeah, and like I said, they did some stuff with the cut on that too. I think, but yeah, they brought it back and they dropped it just before Shang-Chi came out. So it's obviously
maybe she's
they know what they're doing.
Mhm.
And and that was the other reason why it's like I think I think Chapek needed someone to sit him down and say, look, it's not widgets, it's people. And when you're talking to people, you had to deal with people. So that's what it's going to be,
Mhm.
And so they got through it and they went through it and it worked out okay. By the end of the day, I'm actually pretty happy about the whole thing. But uh, who's having a bad day, Phil?
Who?
Everybody on Stargirl.
Oh yeah, you're caught up, right?
Yeah. I just watched the last episode today. Well, actually,
Yeah.
not everybody on Stargirl's having a bad day. One person had a very good day. And may well be the only member of the new JSA left. Because we see that I know Wildcat quit last time,
Mm-hmm.
and we have this whole thing with Eclipso basically manipulating everyone's minds as he does. We see that the cosmic rod is not it's got only so many charges left. Boy, that's I've seen that before. Um, but it is the how that's working there. And man, at the end of Our Man's story, he smashes the hourglass.
Mm.
It's like, man, they're just all gone now. It's kind of sad, really, when you think about it, but it is where we're at with this right now. Is this is where everything falls apart. But the one person who did not fall apart, Phil, who was the one person who did not fall apart?
Are you talking
Who
about Beth?
proved?
Are you
I'm
talking
sorry.
about Beth? Are you talking about Beth?
I'm talking about Dr. Midnighter.
Mm.
Yes, the real hero. Who just I'm did the whole I'm not afraid of you. Your powers come from fear and self-loathing. Guess what? I eat that for breakfast.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same here, but in the comics, like to fully take you over, Calypso needs you like good and angry. So I mean, he was trying to make Beth angry, and I think it backfired in his face.
Yeah, well, because what it is she could control her anger, and if someone knows how to control her anger, it is going to be a black, the lone black teenager in that black teenage girl in that town who is constantly afraid of being, whatever. And it makes sense that she would be in control, and she is not afraid to both stand up for herself and to keep herself under control as she does that. So it's really impressive. And like I said, I'm glad that she was the one who got to show that she did belong.
Yes.
And they even have, Dr. Midnighter updating the JSA database, which apparently he can do even though he's stuck in the Shadow Realm. Which is also that cool thing. It's like, well, yeah, the goggles make it so I can see through the illusions.
Yes.
Which is why he's in the Shadow Realm, but he can't take him over because, he can still see the illusions. He can see, he knows that it's all fake. So it's an interesting trick with that, and why I guess Dr. Midnighter is the perfect person to have to fight through.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they'll do it here, but the original Dr. Midnight, that Charles McNider, I believe he was like a Matt Murdock type. I think he was blind. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
He was a blind superhero. So that is pretty cool, just so you know that Stan Lee did not create every great idea in superheroes. Blind superheroes were around before too. Let's let me think here. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. It was pretty good.
Mhm.
Um, did you get the chance to watch Lower Decks yet?
Yes, I actually did. Yes, I watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting episode this week as well.
Mhm.
Um, Boimler saves them all by failing his test. It was kind of it was sad and beautiful at the same time. It was
I love how
you
they threw
know
in the Easter egg of the Borg babies, which we saw
yeah.
in the first episode with the Borg, and then after that, they were like, no, they just assimilate people. There's no Borg babies.
No, there's Borg babies. That's the good thing about Lower Decks. They never shy away from, no matter how ludicrous it was. It's like, nope, that happened.
Well, in the
We're gonna
first,
go to that planet with the devil people. Eventually, where it's
uh,
like, you know, they're like Qs but witches.
yeah, that first Borg episode, it made it seem like they were growing babies, but I think that I mean, it's probably darker than that. It's like the Borg, I'm sure, are assimilating babies if they come across them.
Well, exactly. It's like, what else are you gonna do with a baby?
I mean, that was Seven of Nine was a pretty young girl when they assimilated her.
Exactly. Yeah, they assimilate babies. I was gonna say there's nothing wrong with assimilating babies, but oh yeah, and that is, but it was also kind of weird, and like the I guess the team building person there who was just trying to screw them up because it made her look good. I guess it was kind of weird, her plan, but I guess it worked, and they also fooled her too, because you realize as they're doing this, they're not really getting in as dangerous. They're just going into things that look dangerous,
Hmm.
so they can get closer, scare that person, and then fly out. But yeah, um, but Boimler's was just his unwillingness to relent until he got to 100%, taught the Borg empathy, and
And then they're like, "You got to keep going." He's like, "Ah, crap."
yeah, well, exactly, because that's what makes it funny. That's what makes it fun. Uh, and then the other thing this week, of course, was What If?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, so, okay. Here's the big thing that when you're watching it, you probably maybe didn't catch. There is a watcher in every universe, and every watcher in every universe has this, other dimension room
Yeah.
where you can watch everything from. So this is why, even though we see the Watcher fighting Ultravision in this, when Ultravision comes into Party Thor's universe, he's caught off guard because it's a different Watcher. And I guess Watchers don't watch other Watchers as a professional courtesy.
I think it's everyone just watches their own.
Yeah,
Universe.
keep your eyes on your own universe. Watch your own universe, Watcher.
I'm trying
Which
to
makes you
think.
wonder what that poor Watcher did from his other universe.
Yeah, there's. I thought there were stories where there's multiple Watchers in one universe, even, aren't there?
Yeah. Oh no. And for what it's worth, it's established in canon in the MCU that yes, there are multiple
Yeah.
Watchers. We saw
Yeah,
them.
they talked to Stan Lee.
Yeah. Well, not only that, when Ego
Oh yeah.
does that thing, you actually see them on the home world of Watchers getting celestialized there. So, yeah, that was but it's interesting, and it's interesting how the story goes, where it's just he gets fully uploaded, and really, what it kind of seems like is just no one else was in the room. It's like Wanda isn't there, Pietro isn't there. Maybe this is the one where he doesn't adopt Wanda and bring Wanda and Pietro into it.
Maybe.
Because, of course, and I guess maybe within that is just this idea that, because in this one we see he was still trying to access the nukes, so maybe he hadn't come up with the Sokovia plan yet.
Maybe.
Or he just had a different plan,
But the funniest part, the darkest comedy, is when Thanos shows up and he just like cuts him in half with that laser.
People were very upset about that, and I don't necessarily know why. So there's like 6 ways you can play this. And the first one I will even say is he has the Mind Stone, which controls minds. So as soon as Thanos shows up, guy can't do anything because he's holding him in place with his Mind Stone. So, and that's the thing. One thing we know is that the Infinity Stones do not give you protection against other Infinity Stones. That's why Captain Marvel, who is powered by the Space Stone, and Scarlet Witch, powered by the Mind Stone, were able to really hold their own against Thanos with a few of the Infinity Stones because he's just himself, because the stones don't work against other stones. That's the big reveal in that.
And you got to be aware. I mean, you could be taken by surprise. I mean, look, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and the Guardians almost got that gauntlet off his hand, before he snapped.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's he was his power, and comic book Thanos would never do that. It's like comic book Thanos gets beaten a lot.
He had a helicopter.
He got beaten by Squirrel Girl. Okay. And that is just the God's honest truth of it. Okay, no matter what you want to do, it's comic books. There is power sap and power seep. And yes, when he's supposed to be the biggest, baddest guy in the universe, he seems like he can beat anyone. And then, no, he's not anymore because he's a comic book character. And none of these characters have consistent power levels. And one thing about villains is they always lose eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that didn't bother me at all. I liked it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Because it is now, of course, the biggest question that, of course, everyone complaining about that is how did he get the other stones? And I actually think the answer is because remember, this is Age of Ultron. This is before Doctor Strange, if I remember correctly.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because Rhodey gets injured in Civil War, and that's the stuff that Doctor Strange is looking at when he goes. So at this time, the Time Stone is held by the Ancient One.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the idea that in this moment when Earth has been completely nuked, what if the Ancient One goes to Thanos and says, I know you have the gauntlet. You have the only power that can stop him. It'll cost half the universe, but you know what? Maybe it'll save all the universe.
Maybe, but Thanos seemed pretty surprised to see him.
Yeah, that could have been it too. In which case, yeah, it's just the nuclear bombs going off. Obviously what happened is that in the destroying of the planet, people started going a little nuts and worrying about this. And, there's lots of things that could have happened. In this case, maybe at this time he got the orb before it went to Xandar. People were saying, well, how did he get the orb? How did he get the Tesseract? Because these were all in places that we later see Thanos destroying. There's also the question of how did he get the Soul Stone? Who did he sacrifice if he didn't sacrifice Gamora? And the first answer is probably Nebula. And the more... I think he just threw Squidward over. I forget that guy's name. And it's funny because Squidward has a nose. So it's like calling a noseless villain Squid. It's a very prominent feature on Squidward's face is his nose.
It's Tony Stark. It was on the fly. Come on.
I know. It's like, I'm sure there are times where he just like stays up at night and says, what did I call him? Squidward. Squidward has a nose. It doesn't make any sense. If Squidward has a nose, you must acquit. But, I get the feeling like, because, obviously he does, because that's a question, like if you go to Vormir and you make the sacrifice, like, oh, you didn't love him that much. It's like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know. I mean, you liked him a lot. You were a good friend of yours, but that's not the thing you cherish most.
Oh my god, that's a funny meme I saw within the last week. It's like Red Skull and Vormir, and he's like, "Welcome, son of," and he sees it's Steve Rogers. He's like, "Son of a bitch, it's you."
Well, I mean, that happened.
Oh, I was reading an article when him and when Ultron and the Watcher were fighting through those alternate realities. We see that one where it looks like Steve Rogers is getting sworn in.
Yeah.
They said one of the writers, I guess, she made a pitch for an episode and they didn't do it. I don't know if they said it because it would be too much like dialogue and like no action, but she wanted to do an episode almost like The West Wing where like Steve Rogers becomes president and stuff.
I'd watch it.
Oh yeah, I'd watch it too. Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be a great episode. I think, and I do think that is. I think they had a lot of great ideas for what ifs. Probably some from the various what ifs that have come, being the inspiration, and some that maybe are from other things. But at the end of the day, they only had the 9 episodes plus COVID, so it's like but they have approved it for another season, and obviously at the end of this we're going to get our Guardians of the Multiverse because we've all seen the it's coming. We know that we've got this. But that was the other. Yeah, but it's interesting, Philip.
Yes.
It's a lot of possibilities. It's to make you go, what if? Oh, the other thing I always say to everyone, it's like, well, you have to remember this is the one universe where that happened. Because there's an infinite number of possibilities. So there's actually an infinite number of infinite Ultrons, because there's one in which, not infinite Ultrons, because there's one in which Thanos shows up behind him and just snaps his neck from behind before he can react. That's the thing. It's like coming at him from the front was the mistake. You had to come at him from behind. You had to be sneaky. That's the trick. That's the trick.
So is he just going to travel from universe to universe, conquering like that original universe where we saw Black Widow and Hawkeye? Was he ever going to go back there, or was he just like, my drones are here, I'm just going to keep plowing ahead and never looking back?
Well, right now he hasn't really formulated his plan yet, but now he's excited because he has to have his big Watcher fight, which I loved, by the way, because this was a kaiju fight. Got these 2 cosmically powered beings just throwing hands, and for what it's worth, the Watcher clearly holds his own against Ultron, even with the Infinity Stones.
But you do see fear on his face at one point. It's just like, I'm sure it's probably like, it's like the Hulk in beginning of Infinity War. It's like, this never happened to me before.
Yeah, but you know what? Because he doesn't really fight that much. Who's gonna pick a fight with a Watcher?
Well, again, too, there's not even a lot of beings who can detect him if he doesn't want to be detected either.
Exactly. Although at the same time, it's like he's used to having that upper hand, and the problem is that obviously Ultron is very good at figuring things out. But he has limitations, and that's really what it's all going to be about. Because it's your basic problem. Why? Now it's cool that because he is actually Infinity Stone powered, he actually could do a lot more than he's doing. But because he doesn't take the kind of damage that Thanos does with it, So he's literally just going in and smashing things. He's not even using half the stones when you think about it. He's not manipulating time. He's, I guess, manipulating space and then just punching things.
I mean, is that going to be his big downfall? Is like Ultron doesn't have, let's say, the imagination of like an organic being?
Well, it's that, he's not going to be able to think beyond, because that's the thing. If he wanted to completely undo the universe, he just needs to snap.
Mm-hmm.
Either that, or he realized that if he did that, the damage would destroy his body, and that could be the other thing. He already knows that. Oh wow, if I did that, that would utterly decimate my body. Doesn't really serve me a purpose. Then
do not use all at once.
Do not use all at once. Yeah. Interesting. And then you have the other question about whether or not his stones work in other universes, but I guess they must be working to some extent. But then again, you have this idea that as he's coming from that universe, maybe he's bringing sort of a pocket of his universe with him, and maybe that's going to be part of his undoing. That the stones won't necessarily work in other universes, because that's the thing is every universe he goes to, there are Infinity Stones.
Yeah, true.
So really, all you need is someone else to put on the Infinity Stones, and now it's a fair fight.
Or unless he's using the Mind Stone or something, and like Watu's not going anywhere, they're just fighting, and that's in that original dimension or whatever.
I mean, it's a possibility, I mean, I like to think. Although one of my favorite things of that is when he's punching the Watcher, and the universe keeps on changing.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden you're in New York, then you're in Wakanda.
Yes, and it just reminded me of when if you ever watch Villain Pub, and Batman's punching. I think it's Batman's punching Joker, and he's punching him back through his different incarnations. So it's it's Jared Leto, it's
Heath Ledger,
it's Jack Nicholson, all the way back to Cesar Romero. It was great. But anyway, yeah, but that's What If, and that's the big news out there today. I want to talk some comic books, Phil.
Sure.
What would you like to talk? We got Black Cat, we got Thor, we got the Marvels, Winterguard. I read The Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know if you want to save that or not, but
maybe we'll save just the Spider-Man for Sunday with Lilith. We can do that real quick, but everything else, let's. Okay, what did you think of Thor?
Poor Odin. By the way, misleading cover. They were not frost giants. There was not Loki and Miles Morales fighting for their lives.
Oh.
Very disappointing.
I got the different cover, but it was also misleading. There was no hammer in this issue.
Yeah. Well, that's the big reveal at the end. Yeah. It's neat. They're covered in blood. Yeah, and it's interesting. Hela, the daughter, sent away.
Mm-hmm.
Or not Hela, but
Angela,
the daughter, sent away, and it kind of reminds me of Hela, and just that idea that I don't know, man. It's interesting to me, just that she's also kind of ready to take over Asgard. And we got the Battle Cat with the Gatling guns, and Freya, who's now the god of the hunt. Not the goddess of the hunt. She's calling herself the god of the hunt. And she was the goddess. I was the goddess of fertility and marriage, and then I wasn't, because her and Odin have broken up. You think they're gonna get those two crazy kids back together by the end of this?
I don't know. They're gods. They could, go their separate ways for thousands of years and then get back together.
Yeah, but it's sort of like that whole, when in that other books, when those guys fall for those redheads, and then they're back together by the end. So, I guess, I don't know. I guess she takes her to Sakaar. It takes Odin to Sakaar to get some fighting done. What did you think of this issue?
I mean, it was interesting, the family dynamics, but especially at the end, Thor's just like, I'm never going to have it like an heir to my throne. He's like, I'm going to be the last king of Asgard. I've seen it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is, although it's ironic, because although he, from what we've seen of possible futures, he does be the last king, but he does have kids, so.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, that was from the universe where he re-heals the earth and then creates, humans again with Steve. But then we get the big news. Somebody stole Mjolnir.
Yep.
I think it was the Black Cat. Wouldn't that be funny?
I mean, a couple people could pick that. Well, I mean, Jane could have came and picked that up.
Well, actually, can't everyone pick it up now?
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like literally anyone could come in and steal the hammer. So, put the hammer down. But speaking of Black Cat and her mad quest for power.
Oh, I forgot. I wanted to remind you of like, man, if you didn't read this, read it, because I mean, you got Nighthawk, you got Nick Fury.
Oh yeah, and it is. I don't know. Nighthawk is such a creeper, man.
I know.
He's like, you don't remember we were a thing. It's like, dude, I don't know you. I don't want to know you. My mom's alive. I would
Yeah,
like. That's a good thing for me in this universe.
that's the thing. Yeah, he's like telling her all these things he knows about her just because they were together in the other universe. And he says, says about her mom was, and she's like, "Oh, you said was. I mean, she was dead. She's alive here." So, yeah, no,
Exactly, which is why she's not going to do it. And then you got Nick Fury coming in. Nick Fury. And we got Cheese Coulson. Phil Cheese Coulson. Spent a lot of money to make you think Nighthawk's a hero. Think he feels betrayed by Phil Coulson in this? I don't know.
maybe, but it's like I mean, he doesn't know, but we know it. I mean, I think there's some Mephisto
It's Mephisto shenanigans going on. Which, when we talk with Lilith, there's lots of Mephisto shenanigans. Although, there's more shenanigans to come in the new series. I have a new theory about those guys, too.
Oh.
But, yes. Yeah. I like that Nighthawk just keeps up with her, but also I like Odessa coming to save her. And it's just, they just send Fury a picture of like, yeah, you're in a helicopter. We've got a Stinger missile. So stand down. And we see, I'm guessing. So what do you think she's trying to do with the stone? Do you think she's trying to break out the Black Fox? Or wait, didn't she already break out the Black Fox? Trying to remember what happened with that. Did the Black?
Wasn't he trapped with that demon? Well, I know someone hired Black Cat to get those stones first. Like I said, I think it was like an AIM leader. She's like dying or something. She wanted Black Cat.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay,
I think that's what it was. I mean, unless Black Cat has an ulterior motive too.
Yeah, and then we've got, of course, Star is going to do something. But this is like the last regular issue. I thought they were going to be rebooting this again.
I don't know. Maybe they will later. I don't know because I mean, there's a giant size coming toward the end of November. So maybe they'll reboot in 2022 then. Because I mean, then by the time we get to the end of November, they might just be like, let's wait till January or something.
Yeah. So and I'm guessing that's because it's the Infinity Score #1. So I'm guessing that's where they're going to wrap this up as a one shot. I'm guessing.
I am thinking, yeah. But
I don't know.
I wonder too if she's got something to do with Ben Reilly, because I think in one of those Death of Doctor Strange issues, I think they said it's like Black Cat and Ben Reilly. So,
well, maybe I'm looking forward to more of that story.
Oh, the Death of Doctor Strange.
Death of Doctor Strange, The Defenders. Those are both books I'm really enjoying. Both Doctor Strange books.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're kind of leaning into that Doctor Strange thing because
there's a movie coming.
He's strange.
Oh, and did you? Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, he is in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I still wonder if that's going to be, like I said, this part of me just feels like we're just all Mr. X, man.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not him, he has his own movie coming though too next year. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like you're gonna really make Doctor Strange blow up the multiverse for some reason. It's like, what's gonna happen? I don't know, because I kind of feel like when you screw up a spell, the spell fails. It doesn't just take on a life of its own.
Yeah.
Anyway, unless you're actually bringing some sort of thing into the universe, then maybe it's pushing itself out. But I don't know. Did you read the Marvels or Winterguard?
No, but please tell me about them.
Okay. So the Marvels, because now we're kind of caught up with modern Marvel comics, at least at some point, because this is a Krakoa adjacent universe. We have the big black dome. So this is what's interesting. There's a big black dome over Sang Kong, And then we get this little David Bowie looking guy. Maybe Doc Hammer looking guy. I'm not quite sure. And he's like reading a book about what's happening, and he's sort of narrating it. And then he's like, "Oh boy, when Warbird and Arrow are making plans to get her arm fixed, he's like, oh no, that can't happen." He conjures a harp and strums it. I do not know who this guy is, but I am really fascinated by whatever the heck he might be. Look at this guy.
Oh yeah.
He's just weird looking and crazy. I don't know. But anyway, so then we get to here in Lower Manhattan. We get this guy, the guy on the white motorcycle, the guy all dressed in white on a motorcycle. His name is Ace, and Spider-Man knows him. It's like, but weren't you like involved in gang stuff? It's like, how's your sister? He's like, Rosie's fine. It's like, yeah, this isn't usually my bag, but yeah, universe is about to end, kind of stuff. So that's interesting. We get a bunch of monster attacks. It turns out that the jewels that Black Cat had stolen were actually monster eggs. And then we get a lot of fun little cameos here. We get the Fantastic Four fighting a monster. We get the Winterguard fighting a monster. We even get at one point. Let me see this one. The Agents of Atlas. There's even one where they actually have the Union. Remember the Union? Remember that team? Yeah, there they are right here. The Union.
Yes.
England's new super team. Got them fighting a monster. So remember that thing, guys? That still exists. They're still going concern. Anyway, they get a little spaceship from T'Challa to go to the Black Dome thing. Strange is trying to figure it out, and then all of a sudden Warbird comes in with Arrow, and she's like, wait, how did you find this? She's like, I have no idea. I'm not even sure how I got here. I feel like I just flew to the sky, and I feel like we've just been waiting here for 2 days when you guys showed up. So clearly something weird's going on. But Doctor Strange does his mystical magical stuff to cure Arrow and realizes he has to go into, and this is where we get this narration. And again, it seems like what's his name, the guy in the chair, is doing the narration as he feels all of the weight coming on him, and then he breaks out, and then Storm shows up to help them do something. I'm not quite sure, because they said they need someone inside to help them do. Oh, that's right. Now I understand what they're doing. So they need someone on the inside to help them, right? And Storm comes, and Doctor Strange has to leave because he says, "Well, yeah, but dealing with all that negative energy stuff, I've got to deal with. I've got to sort of recenter myself." Storm shows up to join them, and then they're like, "Okay, we have a." Steve was like, "Yeah, I think I know a guy who can help us, and but we have to go get help from Namor. They get the stuff from Namor, and they get the thing." And he says, Tony Stark is like, I don't like magic. He says, well, it's not really magic. It's not really science. And who do they go for help?
Who?
Arrakis.
Oh.
The 1940s Vision.
Oh.
And do you know what the Visions do? What their race does?
Mm-mm.
They help cosmic cubes evolve.
Oh, nice.
Isn't it interesting? So I got theories about that, too. Okay. And finally, Winterguard. Really like this book, by the way. This was actually probably my favorite book I read this week. Winterguard #2.
Ooh.
For those of you who don't know, basically, Yelena and the Red Guardian are teaming up to find some lost information somewhere. And there's some nice stuff there, and basically they do wind up like beating up both Vostok and Red Guardian. Um, there's Red Guardian right there. He's having a bad day, and we get some great stuff with Chernabog in this, who is the god of darkness and secrets. And it's interesting because we mostly know Chernabog from Night on Bald Mountain. He's had a couple of, he's been on the team a couple of times before, but they kind of seem to be playing him in this very delightful Loki-esque trickster fashion in this, and they make their plans where they're going to go. The team's going to split up. One's going to go to Moscow. One's going to go to the town that Red Guardian grew up in or was born. And of course, they both fail on their missions because we have Darkstar, Chernabog, and Perun go to the town where Red Guardian was born, and then Red Widow, Vanguard, and Ursa Major go to Moscow. And we cut back and forth. And Perun is like, oh, hey, there's a big storm coming. And, like, no one is listening to him. He says, I am a god of storms, and I tell you, there's a dangerous storm coming. It's like, and this dam will not hold, He says, but I see the church is on high ground and fine. This goes into the story, of course, Yelena very easily, defeats, well, not so much defeats, but gets away and gets from the team. And by the way, in this, there's also this whole thing where before he left, Red Guardian said, well, of course I was able to defeat you all so easily. I have one of you is working with me. You have a traitor in your midst. So they're all like, playing mind games, as it were. The dam, of course, breaks. The Winterguard has to be the heroes, and that's pretty good. Yelena tries to get Mikhail, Ursa Major, to look at one of the data things that they're looking for. Says this was the first one that we got. You know what it's like to do the dirty work, and then have them sell you out for it, so that's interesting. And like I said, in the end, they both escape, and actually, you find out that Red Guardian was in the town the whole time and is actually still there even as he walks away. And they just can't find him because he's that cool. And then we find out that there's one who has what they're looking for, another one of these data packs, and of course it's Vlad Tepes, and he will give it to the Russians for a price. Bum bum bum.
Oh hey,
so yeah,
I was gonna say I almost forgot. I should mention the 10th anniversary issue of Miles Morales Spider-Man number 30.
Oh yes, I did not get the chance to read that. That must be why he's on all these covers, and then he's not in the books.
Yeah, they're doing
Marvel.
Yeah, it's 10-year anniversary variants. Yeah, I mean, there's 3 stories in this. It's pretty funny. Like the first one, it's like him in his new costume, and he's stopping this guy in Mandroid armor.
Mm-hmm.
Who I forget where he said he bought this. The guy just buys this Mandroid armor, and Miles is like, "What are you doing? You're like trashing the place." He goes, "I'm trying." He was trying to stop the local taco place because he's like, they're using frost giant meat. I don't know if they found a dead frost giant during War of the Realms, and this taco place is using frost giant meat.
Oh goodness! Well, it's magically delicious.
But yeah, then it's just so he stops that guy, and then he helps these little girls find their dog. And he's still in time for his date.
Yay!
But at the end of the first story, continued next month, his date's about to get interrupted by Taskmaster.
Oh, good old Taskmaster. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone hired him, but yeah, next month it's gonna be Miles versus Taskmaster.
Well, that's always fun.
And then the second one's kind of cute. Miles, I guess, gets to host Sunday Night Live.
Oh, wow. Sunday Night Live. Well, why not?
And it's just like him going around town, and like towards the end, he gets to save the guy on the show who was playing the Vulture from the actual Vulture.
Yeah, the Vulture does not like his character being maligned.
No. And then the last story supposedly said 10 years in the future. I guess Peter Parker's dead or something. And Miles is like telling this there's this group of teens breaking into a store, and there's 3 of them. And the girl, she's like, I thought I could talk them out of it. And Miles is giving her, the old Spider-Man always talked about power and responsibility. And, give him the old, do what's right.
Do what's right. Well, that's cool, man. It
was a pretty entertaining issue.
I'm sure. Yeah, I actually, like I said, if I had more times, I did not even pick up my books until today. So, I got to do all that reading. In the hours between work and when we started, which we started a little late, so that's good. But that's everything, Philip. So, if people would like to reach out to us, talk to us, tell us how awesome we are or how lousy I am, how can they do so?
If you want to get a hold of us, any of us, you can always email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And the easiest way to find all our social media, a link to our YouTube channel, our Patreon, very important because we're all paying for this ourselves now. Please subscribe to the Patreon if you can, or the merch. We have a new store. We have the same merch. Some extra merch may be coming soon. So yeah, find links to everything at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet all sorts of things when I feel like it, which is actually almost never, because there's never a time when it's on and I can get the channel in, and it's a lot of stuff. But I try to, I really do, and I want to. But if I do ever do that again, you can find me at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been another episode of Super Connectivity. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. And I really hope you come back again next week and super connect with us once again. Good night.
Good night.
Not a bad show.
No.
Under an hour.
Aloha.